What's up everyone, Brian Phobos here. Today we're going to talk about EOS and the EOS testnet. We're also going to talk about it in relation to Steem and other blockchains as well. Now here you can see the blockchain running on the testnet, and notice that there is a new block here every half second if you look right here. So every half second there's a new block. On the Steem blockchain there's a new block every 3 seconds, and if you look at Blocktivity, the Steem blockchain has the record for the most transactions in a 24-hour period of time, and is consistently, the #1 blockchain as far as transactions in a 24-hour period of time, followed up by BitShares and Ethereum. If you notice, Ethereum is typically pegged to the max, 34,000 unconfirmed transactions right now. It's at capacity, and BitShares and Steem are not even moving the needle. So they have lots of capacity, lots of ability to essentially do more transactions per second and in a 24-hour period of time. And so EOS, if everything was the same with Steem as with EOS, but EOS has faster block times, then you could say that it would have 6 times the capacity that Steem could potentially have, if all things being equal. So that's exciting. I mean, we're seeing a lot of things on Steem. If you've been on the Steem blockchain, I definitely recommend getting on there. If you're not on there, there's people live streaming video games on dlive.io. There's people uploading videos on DTube. Obviously people on Steemit, and then there's other views of the Steem blockchain like busy.org. So, go ahead and check it out. We're making money out there, having fun. So let's get into the EOS stuff and just kind of give you a baseline of, what I did and kind of some of the issues that I ran into. And hopefully this will give you kind of an overview, give you a little bit of a foundation, and maybe get your bearings and kind of see if you want to run the testnet and, how you want to interact and everything with this environment. So for one of the things that it says basically there's these different environments that were recommended. At first I tried Fedora 27. I had dependency issues. And then I tried Ubuntu 16.04. I also had issues with that for some reason, even though other people built it on Ubuntu. And ultimately I got it working with CentOS 7. So third time was a charm. It built properly there. And basically after it was done, and it took 45 minutes on a very powerful VPS. So keep that in mind. It is going to take a while. It's a lot of code. It's pretty intense. And then it has you, basically verify that the installation is running properly by running these different commands. Everything was good. I was up and running. So this is technically Dawn 3. And one day after, basically, I got it installed, then Dan Lermer announced that Dawn 4 was out. So there have been potentially some little changes, but I don't think command-wise, it's probably going to make that big of a difference of what I'm going to kind of show you guys and how I'm going to relate it back to the Steem blockchain. So there's that, and then there's good instructions on the GitHub page for running the build script, and then things to basically what you have to do here. So let's go ahead and start, and then I'm going to kind of just start fresh here, like we're starting. And one thing I want to show you is just how they draw this out. So let's say this is you. The main way you're going to interact with the EOS blockchain is through the command kleos, and at the same time this KEOSD daemon has to be running to interact with the wallets, and then Nodeos is basically what you guys just saw running that was producing the blocks, but you're always going to interact through the command line through this command kleos. So the steps to do this is, first you're going to start up Nodeos to get the blocks producing. Then you're just going to start up KEOSD to get the wallet daemon so you can interact, create wallets, create usernames, all that kind of stuff. And you're going to be using the command kleos. So let's go ahead, and the first thing to do would be start up the blockchain. So I've already got the command in there, but they do obviously show you the commands down here, and it's in this build programs Nodeos folder, so you're going to have that. I've already got the command in there. We start it up, blocks start producing. And it actually started up where it kind of left off if you see these block numbers. But again, there's a new block every half second. So pretty exciting right there. Then let's go over and we need to start up our wallet daemon. EOS-D, and again, I've already got that kind of queued up here. There's an executable in there that's the daemon. So once that starts up, there you go, you're off to the races. And then we can start interacting with the blockchain with EOS. And if you just type in the command and you hit enter, you're going to see different options that you can put in there. And then if you go a step further, let's say like EOS wallet, and then hit enter again, then it gives you another list of sub commands. So it's kind of like sub commands under sub commands under sub commands kind of thing. So just to give you kind of a baseline to get you a little bit more familiar. Now in this EOS folder, because after you install it, there's basically going to be this EOS folder, and it's going to have one thing to note is contracts. So we can go in there, cd contracts, and you're going to see some example contracts. You're going to see like dice, hello, exchange. So let's go into one of them. Let's see. Oops. And then let's look at, this is where your C++ is going to be in this .cpp file. And basically EOS is WebAssembly, and WebAssembly is kind of a new standard and everything, but you're going to essentially be able to write in C++, and then it's going to compile into WebAssembly. So let's do nano, dice, cpp, and then you see the C++ for that contract. So if you're not familiar with C++ and you're wanting to get kind of your hands dirty and stuff like that with this, probably watch some tutorials on YouTube or do some classes with Udemy and stuff like that to kind of gain a better understanding of C++. So let's see, let's get out of here. And then, we'll get back in there a little bit later. Let's go back to EOS. Okay, so there we are. And to start out with, let's create a wallet. And here's the main flow that, I'm seeing that typically you should probably follow, is that first you're going to create the wallet, then you're going to create a username with that same wallet, and you're going to reference that wallet for the username. So let's just create a wallet called dog, and then we're going to create a username called dog and reference that username to the wallet dog. EOS wallet create. Now, okay, if you did this for the first time, let's say you just got the testnet and you hit enter on create, it's going to try to do the default wallet. But I already created the default wallet, and it shows you like where that is in the directory structure. And you can delete that, and basically that wallet is essentially just holding the private keys that you've defined. So let's do EOS wallet create, and then you do like the in argument dog. Okay, so it created the wallet dog, and it gave us this password to get into the wallet. So you want to go ahead and save that. I'm just going to go ahead and copy it over onto another, another file over here on another screen. That. And then the next step is actually to create the keys. And if we look back at, let's say, Steam, for instance, you have these key pairings. So you have an owner key, an active key, a posting key, and a memo key. And the way they work in Steam is basically the owner key gives you access to everything and gives you the ability to change your root password, your ultimate password. And then the active key gives you access to the wallet, but it won't let you change the password to the account. And the posting key allows you to upvote and comment and make posts, but it won't give you access to the wallet and won't let you change your password. Memo key is to write memos. Not many people really use that on the Steam blockchain from everything that I've seen for the most part. But anyway, you have a very similar kind of situation over on EOS, but for the most part, we're just going to be working with the owner key and the active key for EOS. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And so let's say Cleos create key. And this is just generating a random key pairing that didn't do anything to the blockchain. You saw, like, you don't see anything that popped up there. And you're going to see that here in a second, you know, when we'll set those keys and associate them, you know, in the wallet. So you can actually do that again because we need a key for owner and we need one for active. So you can do that, and you can do that all day and it'll create these pairings. And if you notice with public keys, it starts with EOS, which is kind of an interesting thing, kind of like a Bitcoin key, public key starts with 1, or if it's multi-sig, it starts with 3, just kind of to reference that. So I'm going to go ahead and save these over on this other file so I don't get mixed up too much over here, which I've already got a lot of keys and all this other stuff over here anyway, so I'm already getting mixed up. But we'll try to keep it straight. Okay, so the next step is actually to import those keys into the wallet. So we're going to do Cleos wallet import. And then you're going to do, first you're going to do your owner key. So you're going to take the private key right here. You're going to copy it, paste it in. Oopsie. Okay, so I try to import it into the wrong wallet. So I want to do, oops, in for name, dog. And then look, we imported it in. And if you see this line right here, wallet, save wallet file, and it basically, like, you know, save that into the dog.wallet. And we see that in the blockchain. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do the same thing, but we're going to do the other key for the active key. So, oops, kind of got an extra space in there. I don't want it to mess up on the characters. Okay, so that's in there, and we see that again, that it wrote that to that dog.wallet file. Let's just go back over here, and then basically next we're going to be creating an account, but we can say, like, for those keys, we can do, let's say if you're not sure and you kind of forget, like, well, what kind of commands are available. Cleos wallet, and then you can look and you say, okay, list, what's that do? You know, and you could say, or you see keys, you say list the private keys from all unlocked accounts. I actually have several accounts in here, so let's do Cleos wallet keys. Then it shows these keys, and it's like, okay, well, there must, and you see this, you see there's a third set of keys, and it's like, well, who's that? And that actually references back to the EOS IO main account or main wallet, the default wallet that's already created. And if you see, like, relating it back to Steem, this is taking a look at Brian Phobos on the Steem blockchain. July 17th of 2016 was created by Steem. So it's kind of like the same thing. We use the EOS IO account essentially to create dog. And then we could use the dog account to create other accounts, like on the Steem blockchain, Brian Phobos on July 8th of 2017 created race car. You know, so you can do that same kind of thing here in EOS and have different accounts creating different usernames. So that's why there's a third set of keys, because we only entered the active and the owner keys. So let's go ahead and do list. How many wallets do I have out there? Whoops, spelled that wrong. So the only one that's showing up right now is dog. And then you see this asterisk by it. That actually right here, you see, means that it's unlocked. So you know, that's a good thing here. So we've got access to the keys and all that. So let's go on to the next step here. We want to create an account by the same name that we created this wallet. So we're going to create dog. So let's do EOS create account. And you have to specify the username that's creating the account, kind of like how Steem created my Brian Phobos account on the Steem blockchain. The EOS.io account is going to create the account dog over here. So EOS.io dog, and then we have to put in the EOS, or we have to put in the dog. Wait, is that right? Yeah, we have to put in the dog public keys. And the reason for that is we're associating the username dog with the wallet dog. So we want to go ahead and create kind of that link between the two. So let's go ahead and I'm going to scroll up here just kind of for kind of ease of copying here. So public key, this was the owner key. So you do boom, space, and then your public key again for the active key. Paste, enter, and there you go. We linked and you see it here showed up in the blockchain. So basically what we did there again is we created the account dog and we associated it with the wallet dog. So that makes a lot of sense, you know, to keep the name straight. You wouldn't want to associate, you know, a username named cat with a wallet named dog, and it would get super confusing. So it makes sense to keep it the same. So, and a lot of times what's going on is let's say someone wants a smart contract. A lot of times they'll make up a username and a wallet that are the same as the contract's name. And it's not 100% necessary according to like one of the latest videos that I saw on this. But a lot of times people do that if the main thing they're doing with that account is to run code that's in a smart contract. So let's go ahead, we've created the account. Let's go ahead and you know, compile a contract and then set the contract to a certain username, and we'll set it to dog that we just created. So let's say it's like, well, what code are we going to compile? So let's go ahead and go into okay, well, we need to be in EOS. Whoops. And then contracts. And then I'm actually going to go in here to new app 1 and to give a shout out to another YouTuber. He's also on Steemit as well, is JD3. He's been making EOS related videos and seems like he's a pretty good C++ programmer. He really knows what he's doing and stuff. So his videos have definitely been helpful. So shout out to him. And then also shout out to NS James. He's been making some EOS stuff. And so anyway, I'm going to use a little bit of code that JD3 had kind of worked off of. And what he did is he created a profile. He created like a smart contract that basically, you know, housed profile information. So like name, age, you know, and that kind of stuff. Into the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that code right now. So cd new app 1. And here's the thing, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this, but your WAST file is something that it pops out. Like when you compile the C++ code that's in this .cpp file, it will compile it into WebAssembly and it'll be this WAST file. So I'm going to remove that real quick. Remove, yes. And then we're going to go ahead and do that again. So let's go ahead and compile the code. And again, if you want to look at the code, you could either do less, or if you wanted to edit, you could use nano, new app1.cpp. And then you can see all the code that he's written. Now, one of the things that he does here actually is he actually calls the hello world. He actually calls that as well, so that it'll say like hello, and then the username should say like hello dog. You know, if that was the account that you were using, and then you can input in JSON format. You can input these different arguments in there for like the name and the age and all that kind of stuff. And you can have a little bio. And so that's basically what his code does. So let's go ahead and compile his code. EOS IO CPP O, and then new app one.wast, because we want to compile it to a WAST file, and then the file that we're utilizing is the .cpp file that had the C++ in there. So let's do new app one.cpp. And it went ahead and compiled. There was 5 warnings, but there was no errors, so that's good. And then if you do ls, you can see there's the WAST files in there. So that's our compiled code. And then we can go ahead and set the contract to the particular username that we want it to be associated with. So we just created the wallet for dog. We created the username for dog. Now let's associate the smart contract code with that username dog. EOS IO CPP -O, and then we're going to do new app one.wast, which is the compiled code again. That's in WebAssembly. Whoops, I started looking at the wrong thing, guys. We got to set the contract here. We've already done that. Kind of going backwards here. Okay, so Cleos set contract, and then you're going to name the username that you're giving authors, or you're going to name the username that we're setting the code to, so dog. So the code's going to be associated with dog. And then this is kind of a goofy thing that you have to put 2 dots here, even though we're in this directory. You'd think it'd be /, and then we would say like new app one, but you got to go / new app one, and I'm not sure why that is actually. And then we're going to say the permissions P, and we're going to say dog. Dog has the authorization that wallet's open, and we have access to the keys for dog, so let's just use dog's account. Boom, and then you see all this code that it wrote to the blockchain. So right there, that was successful, and we've got that code in there. So if you want to run the code, let's say you go Cleos push action, and then we're going to say dog for the account that's doing it. Or we're basically saying like what account has the code on it. And so we're basically saying like dog has the account with the code. And then we're going to say, well, that's the wrong one I'm looking at here. Close action. Dog new app one. So we have to say, what the contract is there. And then we could pass an argument to it in JSON format. So this gets a little bit confusing, but let's say okay, I actually did that wrong, guys. Push action. You don't have to name the where the code is just yet or whatever. New app one, and then by age was basically something you could pass to it in his code. You'd have to dig deeper into the code to kind of see what arguments you can pass to it, the way it's written. And then we're just going to say that, we'll say that the dog is 15 years old. And close that out, close it. And then P for like permissions, and then let's say dog. Okay, so we wrote it, and you saw that we, this entered there. By age, it passed that argument. And then here's another thing too, is if you add the -j, that'll actually output it in JSON format. So you can parse this out so that you can use it for web apps and for mobile apps and stuff like that. You can remember that -j format that you can do. But that's basically what I wanted to kind of show you guys, that there are some, there's some sample contracts out here, and then we've got a couple YouTubers like JD3 that he's got some code up on his GitHub page, and you can take that and you can compile those contracts and play with the code and stuff like that. But hopefully that was a little bit of a good explanation of the main things. And let's do a quick review real quick, because I still think it's important. Like when you guys get this thing running, first you're going to start up Node.EOS, get the blockchain running, and then you need Kios D daemon to be running so that you have access to the wallets and you can like house your keys in the wallets and all that kind of stuff. And then everything that you're going to interface with through the command line is mainly Kleos for the most part. And then once you kind of got that environment running, just to gain a basis, you can see that, in the EOS folder, there's a contracts folder, and then you've got different code. And some of the code was there, like dice and exchange. So you got some sample code, and then hello. And then also you can get some code from some of the EOS developers out there, like Block.one, and you can compile that code and start to work with it. But I hope it makes sense too that you're going to create the wallet, then you're going to create a username that's associated to that wallet, and then you're going to set smart contract code to be associated with the username. So we did that with dog. We created the dog wallet, created the username dog, and then we set the new Block.one contract data to be associated with the dog account. So hopefully that makes sense to give you guys an overall basis. Now what I want to do in the future is, this is actually Dawn 3, and Dawn 4 has just came out and everything. And so what I want to do is I'm going to blow out this instance, and probably in about a week and a half, they're going to kind of like stop making a lot of changes, and they're just going to do a lot of testing on the code that they're going to roll out for EOS IO 1.0. And I'm mainly going to get on there. I'm really going to kind of dig into the code. And then what I want to do over here on the GitHub page, if you look at EOS's GitHub page, they have EOS.js. So I want to take the next step and use EOS.js to connect to it and do a web interface that we can like connect and like have text boxes and stuff like that. So like obviously over on STEEMit, when you create like any information and write it to the blockchain, you're doing it through these web forms. Like, you're able to create a title and your story, and then you're able to submit that to the blockchain. And so I want to kind of give an example of that and get everything set up. Now JD3, he connected to it a little bit different way without using EOS.js. So that was definitely interesting, and I definitely would go check out his blog and all that stuff like that. And again, he's out on STEEMit, and there's other people working on this as well. So if you have any questions, I'll definitely try to help you guys. I'm still trying to get my bearings and everything, so I'm by no means an expert. But another thing I wanted to say about EOS in general, and I might have said it kind of a little bit earlier, but I don't think that EOS is going to necessarily kill Ethereum. I think that Ethereum is still going to exist. I don't think it's going to be like a MySpace event. I think that Ethereum will continue to be a main artery for the blockchain space, but I really feel that EOS can become a main backbone of the blockchain space. And with half-second blocks and the capacity to do real world applications on top of it, I think we're really going to see some cool stuff coming out. And, you know, it's exciting to be a part of that and everything. So, you know, if you would, you know, leave any suggestions or questions, and please like the video and hopefully subscribe, and then follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos. You know, I'm on Steam it, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube. So see you guys later. Hope you have a great night.